Alright, let's see if we can actually get something done this time. I tried to stream like twice already this morning, and we've had some real life stuff get in our way. So let's jump on window. Window mic is on. Let's jump to. I wanted to work on the sugar mill, sugar flour, oil press, and I'm going to call it the drying mill, which is going to be some raisins and some other product. So I grabbed some of those base factories out of the map, the base map, and we're going to speed them up and add more to them. Let's start with the grain house. I'm not going to make any changes to the i3D. We're going to have to make some changes to the XMLs. I'm going to leave my let me close my palettes. If there's any problems, we can open our palettes back up. So I was building a couple new palettes this morning. And I'm going to close the grain mill for a second. I want an i3D, I want an XML that I know works, that I can copy stuff from. So let's grab the fertilizer station. And let's go back to, actually I'm going to open up this icon as well. We're going to steal some stuff from it. So let's go back to, I guess we'll get the grain house done first. Alright, so we're going to have to change this to grain house. So it has a different name from the one inside of the game. Grain house there, grain house there. Our image we're going to change up. Let's rename this grain house. And then we're going to need like mod description and all that fun stuff. So let me minimize that one. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up another folder so I can copy and paste stuff over. I'll just go to the fertile. I'll just steal some pieces out of there as we need them. We are going to need brand and mod description. Let's copy those over. And then let's look at this and let's grab this from it. And then let's go color picker yellow. And we'll go green. I'm going to call it grain house just to make so it has a different name than the one inside the map. So let's get that saved. So that's done. Mod description. Let's change these. Let's change these. Alright, now our store photo, how's that named? It is store grain house. So icon becomes store. And then this becomes grain house. And then our XML, we're going to rename that as well. Let's rename that grain house. Now the problem is I think I had it opened in here. I did. Let me close this one. Does not exist. Keep in the editor. No, because I renamed you. Let's open that back up. Alright, so mod description, where were we? Mod description, greenhouse, all the way through store, greenhouse, XML. And then mod description should be done. Yep. Should be good there. So the mod description should now be done. And then we're going to take the greenhouse. I got to redo this because I changed names. So you're going to be greenhouse. Our function, grain house, and then it's going to be, let me just make sure this is the same. Yep, so now this is going to be, what did we rename this greenhouse? And I don't need the path anymore. That's done up to there. Everything else stays the same. Change the brand. Where are we? Over here. And then our I3D should be greenhouse. And this can go. So that should be the same, right? Yep. Alright, so we're good through there. We didn't change anything in the factory. We didn't need to change anything else up. We are going to add another production line to it. So we're going to get flour from wheat, flour from barley, flour from oat, flour from sorghum. Now we can add rice in here and rye if we want to. But we're also going to have this make cornmeal. So what does, let me see what the flour palette looks like, and let me see what the cornmeal palette looks like. Do I have the flour palette in here? I do. I just can't remember what it looks like. Okay, so they're individual packets of flour sitting on a pallet. So we're going to add pallets in as another input. So add in, I'll adjust the numbers here in a second. So add pallets in because they're sitting on pallets. What does the cornmeal look like? All right, so they're on individual pallets as well. So we can add pallets into cornmeal. Alright, so let's add, I'll adjust all these numbers here in a second. So let's open up that one, open up that one, open up that one, open up that one. Let's grab this, and we'll throw it here. We'll throw it here, and we'll throw it there. So now I can close that gap. That gap can go, that gap can go, that gap, that one, and this one. Now, to get you some extra flour, so I'm going to go flour. I'm just going to go flour. So we're not using flour at all. Up top, no, it's flour, wheat flour, sorghum. And then we're going to take this down to flour. Take this down to flour. I have no idea what this is. This is the first time I'm seeing that. I don't think we have it in our fertilizer station. I don't. We just have ID and name. I don't know what this parameter is. We're going to change this up on the ones I'm putting in. We're going to grab... Yeah, we're going to grab everything on the production line. So I'm going to grab all of this. Now we're going to change this up. So this is going to be flour. This is just going to be straight up flour. And we're going to change this to rye. Oh, capital. So rye and pallets to flour. And then we can do rice if you want, and that'll give you some extra flour. So this becomes flour 2. You can stay as flour, and we change this to rice. I believe I can do, where's my fertilizer? Yeah, I just have to add, because I can't have fertilizer and fertilizer like repeated. So I think we're good so far. We'll see if it throws any errors in game. And then we want to do cornmeal. So you become cornmeal. You become cornmeal. And then we add in maize. And then this becomes cornmeal. And then we'll have to, okay, so now let's go cycles per hour. Let's go, I'm going to balance, I'm just going to change it to what all my other factories are running at. So 100, 100, just 100, 100, 100, 100. So we're even all the way down. And then we're going to go, let's go with 10, 90, 90 and 10. So 90, 10, 100, oh, change this. Change this one. Sorghum. 10, 100. Rye, 90. 10, 100. Rice, 10, 100, and then your cornmeal. now we added, all right, so we have a couple new inputs. We have to add in rice. We have to add in maize. We have to add in pallets in the unload trigger. So we added maize, we added rice, we added rye. So rye, rice, maize, and pallets. So maize, pallets, rice, and rye. Yeah, we've added those in. And then here, let's change this up first of all. So we need to add rice, rye, maize, and pallets. Oh, and cornmeal in here, so I need 5 more. Let's grab these. Alright, so we need to add in rye, need to add in rice, maize, cornmeal, and pallets. That'll work. And then we have our unload trigger, we have our pallet spawner, we have our player trigger. We didn't make any other changes in here. I think everything else is good to test. We have our brand defined in the mod description. I think we're good to test this. Brand is done, greenhouse is done. The only thing I didn't look at is the logo that's on the mill itself. Oh, I do have the logo. We can leave it. I can live with that. So we can leave the logo alone. Let's zip this up. Alright, where's my mods folder? Do I have one open? I do. Let's copy, paste. Get that all off my screen for a minute. Alright, let's see if... I'm going to have to put a mill down because we're going to need pallets and boxes and stuff. So I'm going to have to put the mammoth mill down. I'm going to have to put the carpentry mill down. We're going to have to get them running because I lost my test map on the restart. So do I have the grain mill in here first of all? It is. Alright. Going to deselect all and select all just so I have everything. All right, let's get a mammoth mill down. Let's get a carpentry mill down, and then we'll test the new grain mill. Matt K, hail man, really liking the new updates and all the factories, fun to play. I'm trying to get as many factories done as I can. Unfortunately, I had some real-life stuff getting away today. I'm going to have some real-life stuff getting away tomorrow. Alright, let me check the log first before we go any further because I was building pallets this morning and we just built a grain mill. Alright, so no errors so far. Let's head again, I lost my test map. I had every single factory running, and now I don't. So we're going to have to get some more stuff up and running again. So let's buy the property back here. And we'll throw a bunch of our factories back here. And we'll head back that way. Alright, let's get Mammoth Mill down. Let's get the Carpentry Mill down so we can get some of the basics going first. Oh my, why does my camera always turn around? That pisses me off. Production. Where's Mammoth Mill? Right there. Let's get Mammoth Mill down. And let's get the Carpentry Mill down. Oh, and of course you're going to be turned the wrong way. Oh. Come on, turn it just a little bit slower, right? That'll work. So we need pallets and boxes and all that good stuff. Alright, so we're going to take you, and we're going to tell you to distribute everything. That I can, now we'll just distribute everything. Drill pipe, sacks, nails, boxes. Because we need pallets to test the new grain mill with. So let's activate all of this. And then crates, we're going to activate pallets, we're going to activate crates, we're going to tell to distribute, and distribute, just so we can test the new factory. So we're going to have to get the mill going first. So we're going to need wood chips, coal, or so we're going to need a tipper. Store delivery mod. It happens. I'm very patient and love how well you test to make it as great as possible. It even upset me the other day when I had to put a restart update out. I hate telling everybody they have to have a new game save. But it's something that we didn't catch during testing that we had to fix. Now let's get one of Papa Smurf's trailers. And let's just up the capacity on it. Alright, let's get the mill running so we can make nails and pallets and boxes and all that good stuff before we can test the rest of our factories we're going to build today. I want to get the grain mill built today. I want to get the sugar mill built today. I want to get the oil press and the drying house done today, if we can. And that'll be mod pack 3. New factories to test, yeah. But I don't have any of the basics made, so because I lost my test map, so we got to get the basics back up and running again. So I'm going to need coal ore, wood chips, coal. I keep forgetting to up the speed on this thing. I wanted to come in and start a new test map this morning, but real life got in the way. We had the furnace repairman. Furnace broke overnight, so the furnace repairman was here today. Then I had to run to the drugstore. I had to run to the church. Tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment, so I'll be gone from like 8 in the morning till about lunch, after lunch. I'm going to need something for liquids. I'm going to use this and see if it still gives me a hard time. This truck's been giving me a hard time on and off. So we'll see if it behaves today. Alright, so coal. Now we need ore. Ore. Dixie's in the house. Yeah, I'm going to hold on. I'm sitting on the orchard jet, Dixie, because I need to find some more trees. And I haven't had time because real life's been getting in the way the last 2 days. Alright, let's grab some wood chips. Yeah, it was cold here last night, especially with the heat out. Alright, so what else do you need? Alright. What's not running? Plastic. Do we need sacks? I don't need sacks today, so I'm not worried about plastic. And now what are you going to need? You're going to need plank snail. So I just need to take some coal over to the other mill. And then, where's my drop off? So we need pallets, I think, in boxes today to test what we're going to build. I didn't look to see what the temperature was when I woke up this morning, but it was cold sleeping last night. So while that's unloading, okay, so everything here is distributing, everything here is distributing. Plank, snails, coal, plank, snails, coal. Okay, so we'll start making our pallets and our crates and our boxes, stuff we need for testing with. I won't need empty sacks today, so I'm not going to worry about plastic. So that's going to get us the basics we need to test the grain mill with. So now we can throw the new grain mill. Actually, let me do a quick save in case the grain mill's throwing errors. I have a save point to go back to. Alright, now let's grab production. Let's look at the new grain house. Alright. Now we should get flour, a bunch of different types of flour, and cornmeal. So we're going to activate all of these. And I'm going to tell them to store because I want to make sure the pallets spawn out because I want to test the pallets. So we're going to, one of our factories should be making pallets and pushing them over here. So I'm not going to test, like, I'm not going to dump wheat and barley and oat and everything else here. I'm just going to dump in some rice or rye. We'll dump in some rye and then we'll dump in some corn. Let's grab some rye. Or we could test wheat. Or, yeah, we could test wheat. It doesn't matter. We could test it with wheat and we could test it with corn. I just want to make sure that the flour pallet spawns out and the cornmeal pallet spawns out. Throw about half a load in. This should be good for testing. Let's change this over to corn. So I want to get all these basic factories done because then we're going to do update 3. We're going to do custom animal feeds after you get the orchards and greenhouses. So all of our animals are going to have custom feeds. About 1 million liters. That should be good enough for testing. Let's get him out of the triggers. Now, I know we didn't make any pallets yet, so we're going to have to forward some time. So I have everything on, right? Our mammoth mill's active. Everything's distributing. Our carpentry mill is active. Well, it doesn't have planks and nails yet, but it's distributing. And then our greenhouse is all ready to activate, and I want to leave this on storing. So let's go 360 speed. It's probably going to take a few hours to push pallets over here. Okay, it's making flour, it's making cornmeal. As soon as we pop one pallet of each out, why am I not getting pallets spawning? They should have spawned out at, they go down to 1 speed. They should have spawned out at 4,000 liters. Oh, they are spawning out. Alright, so we have our flour. We have our cornmeal. So let me change this now to distributing. Change you to distribute. Change you to distribute. And now let's get the pallet warehouse down. Let's throw this. Let me spin my camera around. I'm going to get it sort of close but out of the way. Let's throw that over here. So it should push the flour and stuff over here now. So actually, hold on. Before I activate this, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. This is all going to distribute before we end up with pallets spawned out over here. And we're going to have to add the new pallets into this warehouse. So this is going to get an update, but I want to make sure it works with an existing save. I wanted to get this on the map first. Oh no, it should have cornmeal in it already. It's when we go to build the I'm gonna build a factory that makes raisins, banana chips, and dried cherries. And we have to add the banana chips and the dried cherries into this warehouse. But I want to make sure once we add them to it, it works with an existing save. Yeah, because it has the cornmeal in it, it has the flour in it. Oh, goodness. We got too many products already. I started putting a cement factory together as well this morning. Alright, so now we can activate this whole mess. Turn my mic back on. I was coughing. And we still have to add seeds to this as well. So when we add the 2 new products to it, we can add... Oh, the other warehouse needs seeds. Never mind. Alright, so now we need to make sure that it's going to push the flour and the cornmeal over there. But let me just make sure I put that factory on top of... Okay, so that truck I don't need. Let's grab Papa Smurf's trailer. And let's grab a truck. I want to get those pallets off the map, make sure the trigger works, and then we'll make sure the factory's going to push the product into the warehouse. Oh, I forgot to change it to Euro pallets. Oh. It's not going to take the cornmeal. So is Papa Smurf's truck not going to take any of our custom pallets? Because cornmeal is a custom pallet, so it's only going to take the flour. So that's going to be a problem. So we're going to have to add every single custom pallet to Papa Smurf's auto-load truck, or they're not going to pick them up. But why did it pick up my orchard product and it does not pick up the cornmeal? The cornmeal pallet should have been built off of the flour pallet, so it should have recognized it as a Euro pallet. Let's forward time first to see if it's going to push the product over here, then we'll go look at that pallet. So it picked up all my orchard and greenhouse product, but it did not pick up the cornmeal pallet. Speaking of cornmeal, where are you on the list? You're here. Alright. Let's forward time a little bit and see if it's going to push cornmeal and flour over here. Yeah, it's pushing the cornmeal over here. It should be pushing the flour. It's pushing the flour over here. Let's go see why Papa Smurf's trailer doesn't like our cornmeal pallet. So let's do a quick save. Granola bars or cereal. Yeah, down the road. Once we get raisins and banana chips and like dry cherries made, then we can do like a granola factory. So you're also gonna need the orchards and greenhouses before we can do granola bars. All right, let's make sure there's no errors in the log first of all. Uh-oh, we got a Lua error with something. Autoload trailer is throwing Lua errors. It doesn't like the flower box palette. It probably doesn't like the cornmeal palette. No, it doesn't like the flower box palette. Let's go look at the flower box palette. Well, I didn't make any changes to that. That's straight out of the base game. I made no changes at all to the flower box palette. Except we upped the capacity. That's the only change we made. So why is it throwing Lua errors? It's throwing multiple Lua errors. It's throwing multiple Lua errors on... Okay, so let's look at a few things. Fertilizer station I'm done with. Let's look at... Let's go back to our pallets. So let's look at the flower box palette. I'm going to open up the i3D. We're going to open up the XML. Because this is referring to in-game. This is referring to in-game. So I didn't make any changes to the palette. And then let's look at we may have to change this to our own i3D. Yeah, it's referring to the in-game. I don't get it. Let me look at my well, actually, let me change it to my custom palette and see if that throws it off. Alfred Prom, hello. Yeah, let's change this to an in-game i3D. So let's change this to I'm going to grab one of my other custom palettes. I'm going to grab which one do I know is working without any issues. Let's grab the catfish palette. I'm going to grab the store data from here. I'm going to rebuild this XML. So we're going to call this flower box. So you're going to be the flower box palette. I'm going to leave the image alone. We're going to customize the palette. So palettes. And then let me make sure the i3D is named flower box palette. It is. So we're going to go flower box palette. This becomes palettes. And then let's take this down. Alright, so flower box palette, image is going to be the same. We have our i3D pathing correct. And then it's flower 4,000 liters. And everything else should be the same. So why is it throwing like a million Lua errors? Index not found. 0410. Yeah, it's each individual box. Alright, let's see if now that we redirected it to our own i3D, we're going to go back in and see if these errors go away. And now let's look at the cornmeal palette. And we'll see if the cornmeal palette is going to give us the same problem. So cornmeal palette. And then let's open up the XML. Cornmeal palette. Let's do the same thing. I'm going to rebuild. We're going to rebuild this as well. Actually, I'm just going to change this to cornmeal palette. Let's get rid of this. Yeah, so that's going to be the cornmeal palette. And then it's hooked to RI3D. Fill type is palette. Type is palette. Let me double check. I know like trout and catfish is working, so let me pull my like trout or catfish back up. Yes, it's classified as a palette. Category palette. Category palette. Everything else is the same. So we have our cornmeal palette registered. We have our flower box palette. Where's my store? We should have our flower box palette. So our flower box palette's registered. We should have a cornmeal palette registered here somewhere. Yep, we have our cornmeal palette registered as well. Let's see if all those Lua errors are going to go away with those flower palettes now. Let's jump back into here real quick. So let's jump back to here. Will it let me pick up the cornmeal now? Or will it not let me pick up the cornmeal? We may have to get with Papa Smurf to put all the custom pallets into his truck. Yeah, it's not going to pick up the cornmeal pallets. Which is weird because they're built off of the flour pallet, and it's picking up the flour pallet, and it's not picking up the cornmeal pallet. You do say cornmeal pallet, right? Yeah, owned by you, mass cornmeal pallet. Why is that at 1,000 liters? That should be 4,000 liters. We gotta go back and look at the cornmeal pallet. Does the flour pallet tell me 4,000 liters? It should, unless I messed that one up. Yeah, so that one's telling me 4,000 liters. So we gotta fix the cornmeal pallet. Did our Lua errors go away? Our Lua errors went away, but let's see if we can spawn a couple more pallets out and make sure. Let me get a couple of these cornmeal pallets out of the way. So let me turn super strength on for a minute. HUD, flight mode, super strength. Let me get some of these out of the way real quick. And we'll spawn out a couple flour pallets to make sure that Lua error went away. But why it's picking up the flour, not the cornmeal, unless Papa has it fill type specific, I don't know. I haven't opened up the XML for the truck yet. So let me change this to storing. And I want these flour pallets to spawn back out to make sure that Lua error goes away. Why am I not getting flour? Oh, because it's missing. No, you got. What's it missing? Why am I not getting? It's probably missing pallets. It's missing pallets. So we just have to wait for pallets. There we go. Let me take it back to 1 speed. Let me change this back to distribute. And let me see if we're going to get any more any errors in the log now with the flower palette. Okay, so that fixed all of our Lua errors with the palette. So my question now is, I'm going to have to get with Papa Smurf because we're probably going to have to add every custom palette to his trailer. The palette does have a corresponding fill type. So if we go into my fill type XML and we pull up cornmeal. Oop, hold on. Control find. So I go here and I find cornmeal. So cornmeal in my fill type XML has a corresponding palette to go with it. And then it's also defined in my production. So under product, we have cornmeal defined down here as well. But it's picking up now because when I built all of my I took the in-game tomato with whatever the in-game greenhouses make, the tomato, lettuce, and whatever it is. I took all those palettes and I copied them. Let me scroll up here and find them. So I took all of those in-game, like the tomato, lettuce, and strawberry, and I built all my other greenhouse products on it off of the same palette. Now it'll pick up all of my greenhouse and orchard products. The cornmeal palette is built off of the flour palette. It'll pick up the flour, but it won't pick up the cornmeal. Cornmeal palette. I've got palette listed up here. My i3D pathing is correct. There's nothing wrong with the palette itself. I just don't know why it won't pick up on the auto-load trailer. It's identical to the flour palette. Unless it needs to say cornmeal box palette. That's the only other thing I could do is redefine it. But once I redefine it, the ones that are sitting on the map are going to throw errors if I redefine the palette. I'm going to build a new one for me. Yeah, that's weird. It's picking up the flour palette, but it's not picking up the cornmeal palette. I do want to change this to 4,000 liters. The only other thing I could think of, I didn't name it cornmeal box palette. Because it's named flour box palette. This may need to be cornmeal box palette. Let me rename it. Let me rename this. Where's my cornmeal? Let me rename this cornmeal box palette. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Let's rename that cornmeal box palette. This gets changed to cornmeal box palette. My store has to get changed to cornmeal box palette. And my fill types has to get changed. Control find cornmeal. So you are now cornmeal box palette. Let's see if that has anything to do with it. So my fill type's changed, my store description is changed, my XML is changed. I3D shouldn't matter. Cornmeal palette should be fine. Let's jump back in here a second. Giving you permission, just have one request. That's what I was asking you to do. Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that whisper. Oh, hold on. Let me get out of here. Let me restart this. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. You're gonna build a new one for you. Gotcha. Yeah, I probably didn't catch your. Oh, excuse me. I probably misread your whisper this morning. I'll check that after the stream. Alright, let's restart the game. Let's see if it doesn't pick up the palette this time, I'm going to unzip Papa Smurf's trailer and see if it's fill type specific or if it's palette specific. Because that'll answer my question. But I'll check your whisper here in a second. Let me try and figure out why my palette's giving me an issue. I can't multitask today. It's been one of those days. Now, these are still going to be the old palettes. Oh, so they're gone. Because I redefined the palette. Now it's going to throw a bunch of Lua errors. Because I renamed the palette. Yeah, now it's going to throw a bunch of Lua errors. It does, okay, loading vehicle. So it's going to corrupt my save game. Because I changed the name of the palette. Let's get out of here real quick before it saves. And then give me a second, I'll check your whisper. Yeah, so hold on. I don't want to corrupt my save game, so just bear with me a second. I need to jump into Farm Sim 22, save game 4. Where do they keep palettes in 22? What XML do they keep palettes at? Is it on create? It's not on create. Is it placeables? It should be placeables. It's probably items or vehicles where they're storing pallets this year. I haven't had to manually take any pallets out of my game in 22 yet. But I want to manually delete these. Bunker silo, bunker silo. Greenhouses. So no, those are strictly. Alright, those are strictly the placeables. Where are they putting pallets at this year? Is it under vehicles? Where's the game storing your spawn out pallets on the map this year? 19, it was the items XML, so you just go into items XML and delete any pallets you wanted. You didn't want on the map anymore. But where the heck are they keeping them in? Right here. They're keeping them in here. Okay, so let's take out the cornmeal palette. How many of these do we have? So I want to make sure I don't miss any. Alright, let's take these out of the map. Flower box palette, cornmeal box palette, cornmeal box palette. Let's get these out of the map. And then let's do a control find for cornmeal. Alright, so I took all the cornmeal palettes out of the map. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. I'm going to throw you all on, be right back. I want to check that whisper real quick, so just bear with me a second. Alright, sorry, I just needed to check something on that whisper. One Dragon Nation, that is awesome. Let me throw you back on window. I'll take care of that after the stream. But that is awesome. So all those palettes should now be off the map, so when it should not corrupt my save game now with the cornmeal being a new name. So let's jump back in here a second. Save game 4. So I shouldn't have any flower palettes or cornmeal palettes left on the map. Because I really don't want to start my test map over for like the 4th time. Let's jump back here a second. Let me check the log. Alright, so all those palettes are now off the map and there's no more Lua errors. Let's see if we can't get this to spawn out more cornmeal palettes and flower palettes. Let's change this to store. And let's change this to store. And I want to get a few more palettes spawned out. Or at least one of each spawned out. Let's go back to One Dragon Nation. Yeah, give me a second and I'll go over that. So this is probably missing pallets. So we just have to wait for some pallets to come over. Come on, give me the cornmeal palette. Awesome. Alright, so now you should be a flower palette, 4,000 liters. We should have a cornmeal palette, 4,000 liters. Shouldn't have any errors in the log now. Alright, awesome. So our flower palette's no longer throwing errors. Our cornmeal palette is no longer throwing errors. And let's see what the truck does. I don't know if it's going to pick up the cornmeal. Now it's not picking any up. It's not what I wanted. Okay, because it's on liquid tank. Let me change it back to Euro pallet. See, now it's not picking up either pallet. So I'm going to have to go with Papa Smurf to see what's up. We may have to customize the truck to be pallet specific for this map. But yeah, it's not going to pick up any pallet now. Alright, we'll have to figure out why it's not going to pick up the pallets. So we're going to have to go into the truck and add them. And I'm not going to mess with that today. So I want to get the factories running today. I'm not concerned with the pallet truck today. Let's save this. Oh, hold on. Let me go back in here a minute. One Dragon Nation is awesome. Everybody in chat send them a massive thank you, like right now. So if we go into the store, my store delivery mod is still over here. It is. So if we go into the store, well, you know what? I need to check something off camera. Hold on, I'm going to throw y'all and be right back. I need to check something first. Let me throw you on be right back. I need to check something first. I just want to make sure it doesn't show up on camera. Oh, you know what? One Dragon Nation? I need the updated one. I still have the one that's running really slow. I'm going to get out of here. We'll go over what One Dragon Nation did later. Or tomorrow. I don't have the latest version. I have the one that's only running at 6 miles an hour. The download link in the Whisper wouldn't download for me. It told me it was no longer there. But let me, I'm going to keep y'all and be right back for a second. I'm going to shoot him a Whisper back. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. He's working on a modded vehicle. Alright, let me throw you back on window. Alright, so we have the... Let me check the log one more time. Make sure we have no errors with the grain house, the cornmeal pallet, and the flour pallet, other than it not picking up on Papa Smurf's auto load trailer. And we're going to see if that's fill type specific here in a minute. Oh, we're still getting Lua errors. I'm still getting Lua errors. It corrupted my save game when I changed pallets. I'm going to have to redo my save game, my test map. Yeah, it doesn't like the changes I made. Alright, let's do this real quick then. Let's jump back in here a second. Jump back in here a second. I'm going to sell off the auto load trailer. I'm going to sell off the grain mill. I'm going to get those pallets off the map, and then we're going to put new ones down and see if it's still throwing errors. I may have corrupted my test map by changing the cornmeal pallet after the factory was running. So let's see if we can't fix that really quick. So let me sell off. Let me go into the garage. Sell this off. Oh, I have two of them. I'm going to sell both of them off. And then we're going to go into production, construction. We're going to demolish the grain mill. And we're going to get these couple of pallets off of the map. So let's grab super strength. And let's get these off the map. And we'll save the game. We'll come back in. And we should have, I think that'll save my save game. If not, I'll trash my test map and start over. And let's go grab that other pallet. We know the warehouse trigger works, so I don't have to test that. Let me sell off the trucks as well. We'll just buy a new truck. And we'll just buy a new auto-load trailer when we come back in. So let me save this. If not, I'll start a new test map. Alright, log. Do I still have Lua errors? Let me just start at the top, scroll down to make sure I don't have a corrupted save game. I'd rather corrupt my save game than release you guys something that's broken and corrupt your save game. Alright, so save game is fine. Let's jump back in here. Let's put a new grain mill down. Buy a new pallet truck and see if we're still having the same problem. Let's jump back into 4. And we'll see if we have any issues. Trying to get as many of the basic factories done for y'all, so when the map is released, you won't be using those crappy in-game factories. But I'm trying to get you all the basics, like the flour, the sugar, on all the basics done. Alright, so let me grab a little bit of speed. Let's get another truck and another pallet, another auto-load trailer. And let's grab another. And then we'll get another. Oh, I missed the shift F3. All right, let's get another flour or another grain mill down. And then I'll go back in and I'll check my whispers to see if I heard back from One Dragon Nation. So let's throw another one down. That's alright. I didn't spin it, but that's all good. Alright, so let's take you. I want to leave it on storing. But let's activate it. We're going to have to throw more wheat and we're going to have to throw more corn in it. But I want to leave it on storing so the pallets will spawn out. So let's throw some more corn in it. Let's throw some more wheat in it. And let's see if these pallets are going to give me a hard time. If they give me a hard time, I'm just going to rebuild the pallets. I'll trash the wheat pallet, I'll trash the cornmeal pallet, and I'll rebuild them. And then I'm going to go back in and check the whispers from One Dragon Nation. Had a lot going on this morning in real life, so I ignored a lot of the whispers. I ignored a lot of the Facebook messages this morning. Is digestate used in any of the factories, or can I just be sold? Right now, you can sell it. I usually don't build digestate into any of my production. Let's grab some wheat. So yeah, digestate I probably will not build into any of the factories. David G, thank you for stopping in, much appreciated. So yeah, if this doesn't work, we'll take the in-game flower palette fresh, and we'll build a new flower palette with it, and we'll build a new cornmeal palette with it. So we'll wipe the palettes out and start over. Alright, that should be good for testing. So you're going to be missing pallets, but that's alright. Let's go back to 360 speed. I want one cornmeal pallet to pop out, and I want one flower pallet to pop out. And of course it's going to get dark now. Alright, let me go back down to 1 speed. I'm going to change these back to distributing. And let's just go to the house and sleep the night. Oh, the house is buried over here somewhere. Alright, now let's check these 2 pallets. And we'll see if we get any Lua errors. Oh, I missed the hookup. There we go. Digestate in the fertilizer factory. That's a possibility. Alright, now, so let me change these back to, it's on liquid. Let me go to Euro palette. No, it's not going to pick up either palette. So why is it not going to pick up either palette? Let me check the log first. See if we're still getting, now if we're getting a Lua errors came back or not. Lua errors are not back, but it's not going to pick up the palette. So his truck doesn't like our custom pallets. But there's no errors anymore with the map, and there's no errors with the grain mill. So the grain mill's fine, the flour pallet's fine, the cornmeal pallet's fine. We're going to have to customize Papa Smurf's truck to work with the map. Okay, let me save this. Oh, awesome. All right, hold on. Before I get out of here then, hold on 1 second. Bear with me. Bear with me a second. I'm going to throw you back on, be right back for a second, so I can download something and show it to you. I just need to jump back into my Whispers and get something downloaded. Alright, I got it downloaded. Let me throw to my mod. Oh, I'm gonna have to come back in the game. Alright, hold on. I gotta exit. I gotta save my game, close it, and come back in. And then let me go to my mods folder. Just bear with me a second. Let me go to my mods folder. Let me go to my downloads. Let me switch mods to my mods folder here real quick. And let me bring y'all back. Let me make sure I closed Twitch. Let me bring y'all back. And let's jump back in game. Everybody thank One Dragon Nation. He's going to give us permission to share what I am just going to show you. So let's jump into save game 4. Alright, let me get a little bit of speed. Let me move my store delivery mod back over here. Alright, so a massive shout out to One Dragon Nation. He just gave us permission to share this awesome mower. So let me grab another tractor to go with it. Let me bump up the engine size. Let me go wheel weights. So I'll get it. I will add it to the uploads before I release the map tomorrow. I'll add it to the map file. And I'll add the baler in. Now the baler is only running at 6 miles an hour. But this thing is awesome. Let me make sure we own the land over here. We do. Yeah, this thing is awesome. Still working on the baler. So let me turn this off a second. So I think you might be able to run this, and now it's going to run really, really slow. Like this thing by itself will do like 32 miles an hour. But if you go in and you grab the baler, One Dragon Nation is still working on. I gave up on it. But if you grab the baler, and let me just buy this guy. You might be able to run these together. And it's going to run a lot slower. Like I said, the mower by itself will go 32 miles an hour. Right now, I can only get the baler working at 6 miles an hour. But I think you should be able to run both of these together. So let me turn the mower on, and then let me turn the baler on. But yeah, so if you run both of these together, it's only going to run at like 6 miles an hour. Baler is still a work in progress. They actually work really well together at this speed. And then all you got to do is pick up your bales. Yeah, they work really well together. So yeah, that's going to be an awesome combination right there. I'm at 12 with minimal mist every once in a while. Yeah, if you can send me your copy of the fast baler, then I'll get him in the download with the map release for tomorrow. But yeah, that'll be awesome. One Dragon Nation, thank you very much. So yeah, that means I'll have to re-upload the map tonight, but it's all good. All right, so we have let's take a look at Papa Smurf's pallet truck really quick and see if it's fill type specific. Because it should have picked up the in-game flower palette, and I broke the in-game flower palette. So let me grab. Is this? Yeah, that's my mods folder. I'm adjusting all of my mods in. Let me grab Papa Smurf's Autoload trailer real quick. Let's copy that. I don't have it in here no, I don't have it in here yet. Let's paste it in here. I don't know if this is fill type, if it's palette specific or fill type specific. I haven't. This is the first time I'm looking at it. I don't know how he has it set up. Okay, he has it set up just by pallet. So it's set up for either a liquid tank, a Euro pallet, or a big bag pallet. That's all it's set up for right now. So let's look at the in-game flower palette real quick. So I have all the palettes pulled out of in-game into my desktop. So let's go in and look at the original unedited flower palette. I want to see what I did when we converted it over. We may go back into the XML here a minute. So yeah, we didn't make any changes to it, so it should be the same. So why is it not picking it up now? So let me do this. Let's go back into our mods folder for FarmSim22. Let's go back into palettes. Let me test to make sure still error-free after zipping. Awesome. So in my mods folder, we have the flower box palette and the flower box palette XML. And let me just see if all the textures are dollar data. So I don't even need that i3D because we didn't make any changes to it. I'm going to move this one over again just in case. So let's go File, Export. I'm going to overwrite the flower box palette. I'm going to overwrite the flower box palette just in case something went wrong when I transferred it over. We're going to grab this XML. We're going to overwrite the one in my mods folder. So let's open up the flower box palette. Oh, wrong one. So let's open up the flower box palette. So everything's pointing to in-game. I'm just going to change this to 4,000 liters instead of 1,000 liters. So the store data is going to point to in-game. I do need to change the i3D though, back to my mods folder. Let me grab something I know is working. Let me grab, I know the dill is working. So let's go, it's going to be just palettes. So this is just palettes. And let's save that. So palettes, flower box palette, 4,000 liters. Flower box palette, store items should be flower box palette, and it is, and then my fill types should be flower box palette as well. So where's flower at? Control find flower. So flower is flower box palette, so everything matches there. So our flower box palette may not be a Euro palette. Let's see what the, I know it picks up the greenhouse product. What is the greenhouse product defined as? Just palette. I don't understand why it won't pick up, why it'll pick up the custom greenhouse and orchard palettes, but it won't pick up the flower palette. They're all Euro palettes. Not sure. Let me look at cornmeal really quick. Where's my backup folder? I'm going to create a new folder here real quick. I'm going to pull my cornmeal XML out of here a minute. And we're going to take Let me look at one thing in here first. And we're going to delete out the cornmeal from the map. Let's delete that out. Let's take our flour palette. Take our flour palette. Let's go File, Export Selection with Files. Let's go Cornmeal, Box, Palette. Let's take our flour box palette. Let's copy that, paste it back in. Let's rename it Cornmeal. Alright, so let's come up here. Let's open that up a second. Let's open that up a second. So we should have a new texture to map it to for cornmeal. Where's my cornmeal? Okay, I've lost the cornmeal texture. Bear with me a second. I'm going to ignore chat for a second until I get this fixed. Raisin. Maybe it was the texture was messed up. Where's my cornmeal? Almond, apple, banana. There's my blank box I was using. Butter, cabbage, cashew, cement, cherry, coal, cocoa, dill, garlic, lemon, melon, pumpkin, raisin, sour cream. What happened to my cornmeal texture? What was the original? Oh, I didn't save the i3D. That's probably the problem. Banana, 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 cashew, cabbage, butter, blueberry, blueberry, cashew, cheese, cherry. I don't see it. I'm completely blind. Coconut, cucumber, dill, dry cherries, garlic, hops, ice, lemon, melon, mushroom, onion, orange, peanut, pecan, pepper, pumpkin, raisin. I've got a problem with cornmeal all of a sudden. Afternoon, finally making my liquid fertilizer and herbicide. Nice. Bear with me for 1 second. I'm going to throw y'all and be right back. I got to go figure out where my original corn palette is. Bear with me while I find my cornmeal. I just have to go into a different folder. Alright. Alright, so here's our, I'm going to rename this. So everything's consistent. I'm going to call it cornmeal box flour. cornmeal box diffuse. So cornmeal box diffuse. So we need to change this to cornmeal box diffuse. Let's save that. And then we have to change this to, this is now cornmeal. Cornmeal box palette should be my i3D. So palettes, cornmeal box palettes, my i3D. And then the fill type should now be cornmeal. At 4,000 liters. And then we should have our fill types. So we know the flower box palette's correct. Let me go control find cornmeal. So we have our cornmeal. Cornmeal box palette is my XML, so that's now matches. Let me go to the store, and we should have a cornmeal box palette. So it's registered correctly now. So everything should be fine now. Let me make sure everything is saved. So everything is saved. Let's go back into FarmSim22, save game for vehicles. Since I mess with pallets, I'm going to do a control find cornmeal. And we're going to take this cornmeal palette off the map. I'm going to take this flower box palette off the map. So I don't have any more pallets spawned out on the map. And let's jump back into save game 4. Oh, excuse me. And let's see if we have any issues now with flour and cornmeal. And then I got to figure out why the trailer won't pick them up if it doesn't work this time. But both pallets are been completely rebuilt. So they should now work properly. Sometimes when I build my pallets at like 3 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't go right the first time. So get this out of the spawn. And then let's get, let me get a little bit of speed. Let's get one more cornmeal pallet to spawn out. Let's get one more flour pallet to spawn out. So let me change this back to storing. And that one back to storing. And let's get one more pallet of each spawned out on the map. Okay, so they both look like flour now, so I messed the i3D up. You're supposed to be cornmeal. So why is the cornmeal palette messed up? Cornmeal box palette. Your register's cornmeal. Your i3D points to the cornmeal. Let me close all this and make sure I'm working on the correct, out of the correct mods folder. So I had like 3 different folders open with pallets. So pallets. So why is my cornmeal messed up? Still. Alright, let's cornmeal box pallets, open that up. Let's open up the XML that goes with it. Let's look at this first. Oh, I didn't register this. So our oh, wrong one. Yeah, why is my flower box diffuse is messed up? Okay. So this needs to be, where's my textures? That needs to be renamed cornmeal box diffuse. So this one goes to cornmeal. Let's save that. Now if I open it up, it should look like cornmeal this time and not flour. Oh, it's still missing texture. Still missing texture. Let me look at flour. Let me look at something that I know should be correct. Cucumber. Oh, I missed textures. Okay. Let's close this a second. So it's going to be textures / cornmeal box diffuse. Now we should have a cornmeal palette. Not a flour palette. It's just been one of those days where nothing's gone right since the time I've crawled out of bed this morning. Alright, so now we should have cornmeal. Let me make sure I have no other palettes spawned out on my save game. Let me go back into vehicles. Let me do a control find for cornmeal. Okay, so I have no palettes spawned out on my test map. Let's try flour and cornmeal one more time, and then we can move on to the next factory. I haven't been on my test map since I haven't been on my realistic game save yesterday since when I was streaming I lost the internet and it booted me off. That's why I completely disappeared yesterday. Because I lost the internet. And I haven't been back in my realistic map since then. So I haven't played at all since yesterday. Alright, Shift and 3 is going to get my speed mod on. Let's get this out of the trigger. And then let's get one more palette of each on the map. So I want to change this to store real quick. I want to change that to store real quick. And then we should get one palette of each spawning out. And let me change these back to distribute because I don't want any more spawning out. Alright, so you should be a 4,000 liter box of pallet of flour. And you are. You should be a 4,000 liter box of cornmeal, and you are. Now let's see if it'll recognize them in here. So we are on liquid tank. Let me change it to Euro pallet. And oh, there we go. So now the flour palette will work and the cornmeal palette will work. I don't know what it was when I built the pallets. Sometimes you just have to trash your shit and start over. Awesome. Alright, so now we can call the grain mill done. Oh, we gotta fix the unload speed on those pallets. All right, one more quick adjustment, and then we can call the grain mill done. All right, let's do a save. And a quit. So we can think about putting digestate in another factory. We could probably put it in the seed factory and have it turn digestate and wheat or in a grain into seed. So we could probably add digestate into the seed factory. All right, so a couple things really quick I wanted to do. Let's take the, let me close the i3D. I want the cornmeal box palette open, and I want the flour palette open a second. So where's my flour? This guy. I fixed everything else. I forgot to change the unload speed. So that has to go to 500. And then this one has to go to 500. Alright, so that factory is now going to be completely done. Grainhouse I can close. Mod description I can close. Let's just check the log one more time. Lua errors with the auto load truck. I don't know what it is. I'm getting Lua errors with Papa Smurf's auto load truck. The only thing I could do is sell it off and buy a new one. But there's no errors with the map, there's no errors with the pallets. I'm getting an error with the auto load trailer itself. So I'm going to sell them both off and we can buy a new one. Test please, 12 miles an hour consistent. Awesome. So hang on, bear with me a second. I'm going to throw you back on, be right back. Let me jump into my whispers and download this. And we could test the mower and the fast baler together, and then we can get them both in with the map upload tomorrow. Alright, let me jump out of there. Let me go back to my mods folder. Just bear with me a second. Let me go back to my downloads. And let me grab the updated baler. Let me pull the other one out of my mods folder so I have a backup. Just in case something goes horribly wrong. And let me put the new one in. But massive shout out to One Dragon Nation. Alright, let's bring you back to window. Let's jump back in game and let's look at the updated, the faster baler now. And I'm going to sell both autoload trailers off and we're going to buy another one. Let's jump back in here. We're not getting many factories done today, but we're getting somewhere. I'm going to call the grain house completely done though. We'll move on to the sugar house next. So I wanted to make sugar and molasses. So we're going to work on that one next. Trying to get you all the basic factories in before we get the real factories done. The next level factories. Okay, so I should have let me sell off these auto load trucks really quick before I forget. And we're gonna test it again, and we'll see if I keep getting errors with it. Let's jump into here. So I overwrote the fast baler in my folder. So let's just back up here a second. I was hoping that pallet wouldn't be in my way. I was hoping to push it. That's all. It's all good. So let's turn on the mower, and then let's lower and turn on the fast baler. Oh my, yeah, see, it's going to skip some spots here and there. So I'm going to have to slow it down. So if you go down to about, nope, glitching out. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, it's going to skip over spots. So you're going to have to go down probably to about 12 miles an hour. No, it doesn't like the combination together. I'm going to keep the other one in the mods folder, the one I just took out, the one that runs at 6 miles an hour until we can get it, until we have more time to work on it. If I go down, yeah, I'm going to put the other one back in, the one that's running at 6 miles an hour. Until we can get it a little bit more stable. If not, okay, so we got to run it at 12 miles an hour. So set to cruise control at 12 miles an hour. This should be fine. Oh, 12 miles an hour consistent. I've never used cruise control. Let's jump back in here. I've never done cruise control in FS in my entire life. Let's see if we can get it to run at 12 miles an hour. Alright, let me jump back in here. I'll see if I can figure out how to set the cruise control. I don't run GPS, I don't run Courseplay, I don't run any of those mods. Because I can't remember key bindings. Because my memory is terrible. But if we run this at 12 miles an hour, so let me turn the mower on. Let's turn the baler on. Is there cruise control for, yeah, toggle cruise control is B. And then, hold on. How do I set the miles per hour? Change cruise control. How do I know what it's set at? So if I activate it, what's it going to go to? How do I change it so it only runs at 12 miles an hour? Do I just go? You see, it won't let me do anything with my left joystick. Let me try keyboard. Let me try keyboard instead. Change control speed is going to be 2 and 1. So I'm assuming 1's going to take it down, 2's going to take it up. So number 3 is going to turn it on. And then 1's going to take the speed down. 1's not taking the speed down. Two's not taking the speed down. I don't know how to set the cruise control. This is why I don't use cruise control. Because I don't know how to work it. I'll try and manually drive at 12 miles an hour. This is why I don't use course play. This is why I don't use auto drive. This is why I don't use cruise control, because I don't know how to work the damn things. Press 3 to activate. But I don't know how to reduce... 1 to reduce. Yeah, it won't reduce the speed, though. I just saw a bale go flying over in the water. That's pretty funny. One Dragon Nation. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this version. I'm gonna put this one in. I'll put it in the download with the map, and I'm gonna put my slow one back in my mods folder. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. Yeah, sorry y'all, not a fan of this one. I'm going to throw the other one back in the mods folder. I'm going to put the slow one in. This one still needs a little bit of work. Yep, now I'll put the slower one back in. And then that one needs a little bit more work. Alright, let's get on to what I really wanted to do today was the grain mill, the sugar mill. Yeah, I'll get it. I don't do. That's what I said. My short-term memory sucks, so I can't remember key bindings. So I don't use like cruise control, GPS, auto drive, course play. I don't use any of those mods because I can't remember key bindings. So while I'm in game, I never know how to turn them on and turn them off and use them. Alright, let's get back into here. So the flour mill I'm going to call completely done. Alright, so no more errors in the log with the flour mill. So the flour mill we're going to call done. Let's jump into the sugar house. How many folders do I have open? Not enough. Jump back into storage D. One Dragon Nation, yeah, I appreciate you working on it. Much, much appreciated, but I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the slower one. And we'll see if we can't get it sped up just a little bit. I'll play around with the numbers between my version and your version and see if we can't find a happy medium. But it's getting the balance between the unload speed and the wrap speed and the discharge speed, all three of those working in sync with each other. Alright, downloads, FarmSim22. Okay, so the sugar mill, I'm just going to jump back into the fertilizer one. I need brand, and I need mod description. Let's copy those over to here. Our version is called Sugar House. Their version is called Sugar Mill. So let's rename this Sugar House. So let's change the store photo first. So let's grab this and we'll throw it over here. And then we'll grab, so this will be Sugar House. I'll play with that like at 3 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep. I'll see if I can't find a happy medium with that fast baler. I'll save this. So we have our store photo done. Mod description. So you are going to be Sugar House. Could be me. It could be operator error too, because like I said, I suck at key bindings. Fertilizer station. Let's replace that with sugar house. So we have to go store. Store sugar house. So it matches the file, and then we're going to rename the XML sugar house. So we'll rename the XML sugar house. So the mod description should be done. Let's rename this to sugar house. And then let's take a look at, we're not making any changes to the i3D. So this becomes sugar house. Function. And then i3D. i3D should just be sugar house. In case I make any changes to it, I'll have my own i3D. It'll point to my own i3D. And I won't have to change it down the road. In case we want to add custom signs and logos and stuff to it. Image, store, sugar house. So we have to change this one as well. So I think all my pathing is correct. Yep, so that pathing should now be correct there. The pathing should be correct there and there. Let's go down here. All right, so this is turning sugar beet into sugar beet cut into sugar, and sugar cane into sugar. We also need molasses. So what does our sugar palette and our molasses palette look like? Ricci's Creek palettes. Molasses palette, I don't have an i3D for, so what's it running off of? It's running off of the canister palette. What does the canister palette look like? Alright, we're going to have to fix this. Alright, so we're going to have to rebuild the molasses palette. That I don't like. Alright, so let's look at the sugar palette first. And I don't have an i3D for the sugar palette either. It's pointing to the in-game one. Which I'm going to bring a sugar palette over. I'm going to bring a sugar palette over. We're going to run it off of our own i3D. See what this one looks like. Refined sugar. That's fine. Let's go File, Export. We're going to run it off of our own i3D. So we're going to go Sugar, Box Palette. And then we're going to change the pathing on the sugar box palette. So I should have, let me make sure I have the correct i3D. Let me make sure I have the correct XML open. Let's close that a second. Let's close that a second. Sugar box palette. You're going to be, we got to change the pathing. So we're going to run it off our own i3D in case we want to change the logos up on it. And it's going to be 4,000 liters. Alright, so the sugar box palette should be fixed. Let me just double check the store. Sugar box palette. So everything should be fine, and that's going to match my fill types. The cornmeal palette I don't like. What else do we have in-game palettes that look like bottles? Not the bakery. Cake canola oil. What does the canola oil look like? Is it an actual like bottle? So the in-game canola oil is more of a bottle. I'm not a fan of that palette. Cereal, cheese, chocolate, Euro palette. What do you look like? So you're just a flat palette. Alright. Fabric, fillable palette. What does the fillable palette look like? I think it's just an empty box. It's just an empty box. Okay. Flour, furniture, grape juice. Lettuce, liquid tank. That's going to be like more of an IBC. Olive oil. Sugar cane. Pioneer are my sacks. Raisin box. Here more sacks. Strawberry sugar. Wool. We're going to be stuck with editing this canister palette. So let's look at the canister palette. And let's see if we can't make it look more like molasses. What does the texture look like with this guy? I'm half tempted to go to Google and see what Google Images and see what cornmeal or not cornmeal, molasses. Let's go to Google Images a minute. I'm going to have to rebuild that palette. So what does molasses look like if you go to buy it in a store? So it's going to be in a bottle or a jug. So I'm not a fan of that palette at all. Alright, so let's go back into here. And let's go back into the original unedited palettes. Let's go back to canola. Where was it? One of the oils. Canola oil. Let's open up canola oil. Let's open up canola oil and let's go File, Export. Let's go with molasses palette. Let's rebuild the molasses palette off the corn oil palette. So let me copy this. Let's rename it molasses. So let's take this guy. Let's come up here to textures. Let's grab this one, cut and paste. So that's our original palettes unedited. So our corn oil, I'm sorry, now it's our molasses palette. We need to make this look, oh, so I gotta that's gonna be tough. Making this look like a molasses image. Let's try this. Molasses boxes. Can I get something I can turn into? No, I can't. Molasses case. Probably not going to be able to use the bottle palette. Alright, let's redo it then. I know I've got a better idea. Let's not use that one as the base. So I'm going to delete this out. I'm going to delete out the molasses palette. That one's going to go, that one's going to go, and that one's going to go. Let's delete those out. Let's go into my unedited palettes. Let's grab this one's going to be easier to work with. Yeah, this one's going to be easier to work with. Let's go File. Actually, no. You know which one's going to be easier to work with? I think the grape box. Let me look at that real quick. The grape juice. I think I might be able to work with this one. Yeah, we could do cases of molasses. Let's go File, Export. Let's go Molasses palette. We're going to build it off of the grape box. So I'm going to need copy and paste. We're going to rename it Molasses palette. And let's cut it from here, paste it into here. And then we're going to need this image, copy. We need to rename it Molasses. Let's, oh, I forgot to take off the copy. Alright, so it's going to be our molasses diffuse. Let's cut it from there. Throw it in here. And we'll work with this one. I think that's going to be much easier to change the image on. Not really, but it's going to be a little bit easier to change the image on. So let's work with that first. So what can we use for molasses packaging? It's going to be tough to build a palette. I'm half tempted to go back and use that plain box. It's going to be much easier to work with. Let's go back to, let me delete that one. Let's delete this one again. I don't want to spend 6 hours building a palette. Let me delete these out. That one goes that one, and that. Let me delete those back out. I'm going to grab my empty box. What do I have built on my empty box palette that I can easily retexture? Oh, Cool Whip, and hang on, I know where I'm going now. Whipped cream palette. We're gonna build it up. This is gonna be much easier to work with. Whipped cream palette, because it's built off of the box palette. So let's go File, Export. Let's Molasses palette. It's gonna be much easier to work with. Let's go Copy, Paste, rename Molasses. And then let's open this up. Wrong one. Let's open this up. And then we have to we'll come back to the XML in a second. Let's fix the texture first. So I want texture whipped cream 1. It's going to be much easier to turn this into a molasses box. Is it whipped 1? Whipped 1. Alright, this one's going to be much easier to work with. So now we can come over here and find some labeling for molasses. And see if we can't get I don't like how that's turned. I'm not going to be able to fix it. Molasses case, molasses. Can we go box? Can we go boxed? Oh, that's not going to help me either. Sometimes it takes me hours just to build a palette because I can't find the correct texture. I'm looking for a case of molasses. It's not going to be easy to work with. Molasses. We tried case, we tried boxed. Packaging. We get anything better here? No. Alright, so now we're going to have to rebuild it the hard way. Let me close some of this stuff I don't need open anymore. So now we're going to have to rebuild this the hard way. And that's the sugar house. That's the one we're working on. Alright, so let's take jump back over here. Give me a bottle I can work with. So let's copy this into here. This may be too big. I may have to find something a little bit smaller. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit too big. Find something a little bit smaller. This will be a little bit easier to work with, I think. Not really. Well, let's try it. So let's go copy, paste. Let me go copy and paste. Let's pull it over here. Oop, I didn't copy it. I swear I copied it. Copy and paste. There we go. That's what I wanted. Yeah, sometimes it takes me hours to build a pallet. Alright, so what I need now, I need something for this center. So what else do we have that I can stick in the center? What does that look like? Now, see if we can't do finest quality. Oh, you're too big. You're a lot smaller. Let's copy that. Throw it into here. And then give me just a plain box to work with. Copy and paste. Let's get rid of this sign in the center. So we have a clean slate to work with. Okay, so let's take this guy and cut the background out. Come on, give me the whole thing. Come on, give me the whole thing. Oh, it's not going to behave today. It's one of those days when nothing's going to go right. I don't want the top half, I want the whole picture. Gonna piss me off, or I'm just gonna delete this one and go find a different picture. Come on, give me the whole thing. See, I can't get the whole thing without the background. Alright, that's not gonna work. Let's go find something else. That one's not gonna work, it's just gonna piss me off. This one may work. Just cut the background out. Can I get this one? Oh, it's going to be one of those days. Nope, it won't give me the whole picture. Come on, give me the picture. Right there. Copy and paste. We'll throw you there. And then we'll copy this. And we'll pull it down here. And we'll go File, Save As, Molasses 1. Now we can get out of Google. Now we take this guy and we changed it from whipped 1 to molasses 1. And we save that and we take our molasses. Now we can go molasses. there. I can go molasses here. I can go molasses here. And let's save that. And let's make sure our store says molasses palette. It does. So molasses palette, that already matches my fill type. So our molasses palette should now be fixed. Let's see what it looks like. Let's close that one. And let's look at the molasses palette now. Diesel canister auto-loaded. Diesel canister. I don't have a diesel canister that I know of. Alright, there's going to be our molasses palette. I can live with that. That'll be our molasses palette. So now let's go back into the sugar house. So molasses palette's done. I can close that. I can close that. Canister palette we're not using. Sugar box. Our sugar box palette should be fixed. Okay, so now we're going to add. Alright, so we're going to go sugar beet. And empty boxes. So we're going to need boxes to make sugar. So sugar beet and boxes to make sugar. And we're going to do molasses in the same line, so we don't have multiple production lines. So copy and paste. We're going to change this to just sugar. I'm going to change this to just sugar. Now I'm going to get rid of this crazy thing here first. Hold on. I want a better XML to work with. Nails will work. No, I want a production. Never mind. Wrong one. Ricci's Creek placeables. Fish processing. Alright, I want this. In here. So now we're going to name this sugar. You're going to be sugar. And it's going to be 100 cycles per hour. We're going to go with 50 and 10. You're going to get 50% sugar, and you're going to get 50% molasses. Out of the sugar beet. And then we take this line again, and I'm going to replace this. Oh, crap. Let's try that again. Right from there to there. You're going to be sugar 2. It's going to make sugar. We're going to take sugar beet cut. We're going to add boxes to it. We're going to change you to 50. We're going to change you to, well, actually we're going to grab this from here. And we're going to replace this here. I'm going to get rid of that gap. Alright, so we're going to take sugar beet cut in boxes. We're going to change it to more sugar and molasses. And let's grab this again. Let's replace this. Oh, I hate when it clicks off of the last character. Alright, and so we're going to take, you need to become sugar 3, and then we're going to take sugar cane and boxes. And we're going to make sugar and molasses. So sugar line 1, sugar line 2, sugar line 3. First one's going to take sugar beet in boxes. Second one's going to take sugar beet cut in boxes. And then we're going to have sugar cane in boxes to making sugar and molasses. 100 cycles an hour. So the only other thing I need to add into here are, well, we're going to do two things. We're going to up this to 1,000,000 liters. That's going to 1,000,000. That one's going to 1,000,000. Because we don't roll slow. And then the only thing I have to add to here are boxes. Alright. Sugar beet cut, sugar beet, sugar cane. Well, we have to add molasses in. So we need to add molasses in. There. And then we have to add, we need to drop off boxes into the trigger if you're delivering them manually. So you manually deliver sugar beet, you can manually deliver sugar beet cut, you can manually deliver sugar cane, we have to manually deliver boxes. Loading trigger. Why is sugar in a loading trigger when it's a pallet? This is the XML straight out of the map, out of the base game map, with no changes to it. Why do they have sugar in a loading station? Let's go look at the map fill types. Control find sugar. Sugar should be defined as a pallet. Come on. There. Okay, your sugar beet cut. Where's my sugar itself? Your sugar beet cut. Your sugar cane. Your sugar. Sugar is defined as a sugar box pallet. It's not defined as a bulk. Let's make sure our pallet's named correctly. Our pallet should be sugar box pallet. And that's named correctly. I don't understand why they have sugar. I don't understand why they have sugar here. It's not needed on this line. Because we have a pallet spawner. Let's see if it'll make. Let's see if we can get sugar and molasses out of it. I may have to come in here and add molasses to that line. I won't know until we test it. So where's our sugar house? Let me close that so I don't have too many windows open. So brand is done. Mod description should be done. It is. i3D is good. XML should now be 100% ready to go. Sugar house, store sugar house, i3D sugar house. And then we're making, I have all of our outputs done. I have all of our storage done. Alright, let's zip this up. And let's test this factory. And then I'm going to probably get out of here. Alright, let's test this. Save game 4 is my test map. We should now have a new factory. I'll make sure it shows up in the store. Sugar house, awesome. Let's see if we can get the pallets to spawn out. Let's see if we can get the pallets to auto load. Papa Smurf's working on a new version of the pallet trailer. I think he's adding bales to it. So the pallet trailer is a work in progress. This one. And since we had a Lua error with it last time, I'm going to sell it off again. We'll buy a new one. And we'll see if that Lua error goes away when we use it this time. So let's buy a new trailer. Nope, I gotta move my store delivery mod back over here. Let's move the store delivery mod back over here, and let's get another auto load trailer. So we have that ready to go. Let's throw down the new sugar house factory. Sugar house. And yeah, see, because we're going to change up signs and logos and stuff. I just want to get them functioning first, then we'll make them look pretty. So I'm going to change up the signs and logos and stuff on them. Alright, so we should make sugar molasses awesome. So let's activate those. I'm going to leave them on storing so I can spawn at least one pallet of each out. So let's throw in either a tipper full of sugar beet or sugar cane. I've got a tipper hiding back here somewhere. Let's change this to sugar beet or sugar cane. And now I'm going to get out of here for the night. And we'll build some more pallets tomorrow, or we'll build some more factories tomorrow. I need to see if this trigger is going to accept boxes. So we got to throw boxes in this trigger to see if it accepts it. Alright, that should be enough for testing. Let's get this out of the trigger. Alright, which one's making boxes? The Mammoth Mill's making boxes, I believe. I want it to spawn out one box, and I want to see if I can get it into trigger. So you should be making boxes. Let's change you to store. And let's change it back to distribute. So I only want one box to test it. Where's the auto load truck? I haven't tested boxes with this truck yet, so I don't know if it's going to work or not. This is one of the pallets that I may have to work with Papa Smurf to add to the truck. We have to add drill pipe to the truck. We have to add steel to the truck. We have to add steel drill pipe pallets. So there's 3 or 4 pallets we have to add to this truck that it just won't pick up. But that's putting all the visibility nodes and doing all the XML work. But I'm curious to see. So if we change you to Euro pallets, okay, cool, you will auto load. So drill pipe, steel, and pallets we have to add to this truck yet. They're the only 3 that won't work so far. Let's make sure this trigger is going to accept boxes if you want to deliver them manually. Yes, it will. So it'll accept boxes manually. Let's get this out to trigger just because, for no reason. Alright, let's forward time till we get 1 pallet of molasses and 1 pallet of sugar. They're going to be... Okay, I'm not... There we go, 4,000 liters each. Alright, so there is our sugar pallet. 4,000 liters. Here's our molasses, and that's at 4,000 liters. So let's change this to distribute so it can push them into the warehouse. And we'll make sure this will push. So where's the warehouse? We should have sugar and molasses in the warehouse. So we have molasses in the warehouse, and we should have sugar in the warehouse. We do. So let's make sure. We'll test these pallets, see if they'll pick up in a minute. Let's see if we can't get it to push sugar and molasses straight into the warehouse. So we shouldn't have any in here now. Let me just double check. We shouldn't have any sugar or molasses in here. We have no molasses in here. Do we have sugar? We have no sugar in here. So let's forward time a little bit again. And we'll see if it'll push the product over here. Let's go back down to 1 speed. Now do I have sugar? Okay, it's pushing the sugar over. It's pushing the molasses over. So it'll push it over to the warehouse for you. Can we auto load them? Yeah, I want to change the signs up on all. I'm going to get them functioning first, then we'll make them look pretty. We're going to change up some of the signs on the factories. Alright, will you auto load? Am I on Euro pallets? I'm on Euro pallets. Awesome. So sugar and molasses will auto load. Then they'll unload into the warehouse. So grain mill's done, sugar mill is done. Let's do a save. Let's check the log for errors. Log. Still getting Lua errors with Papa Smurf's trailer. I don't know why. No errors with the map, no errors with the factory, no errors with the pallets. But Papa Smurf's Autolo truck is throwing Lua errors. I don't know why. I'm gonna send this log to Papa Smurf and see if we can figure out why it's throwing Lua errors. But I'm gonna throw you all an ending soon. I'm gonna get out of here. It's been a long day. The map, I'll get the updates uploaded tonight, so everything's ready for the public tomorrow. I'll get the Patreon members the mower from One Dragon Nation, but I'll send y'all the slower bale wrapper until we can get it worked out. I don't like that fast one personally. We'll throw the slower one back in until we get it adjusted. So I can take the sugar house off my to-do list. I can take the grain mill off my to-do list. And then I also want to do the oil press and the drying mills to do raisins, banana chips, and dry cherries. I want to put those 4 factories in Mod Pack 3. So we'll have 2 more factories to build before we can call Mod Pack 3 done. But I'm going to get out of here. Hope everybody has a great night, and I will catch you all. I'm going to be gone most of the morning tomorrow because I have a doctor's appointment, and it's a 45-minute drive there during morning rush hour. So I'm going to have to leave my house at like 8 o'clock for a 9:30 appointment. And then I won't be home till after lunch. So I'll get the map released sometime after lunch tomorrow when I get back from the doctor's.